CEO Elon Musk spent the end of the earnings call campaigning for his $1 trillion pay package, which is up for a shareholder vote in November. Joining me now, we got Ross Gerber, CEO of Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management. Ross, always great to see you. So Tesla, I'm just looking, it finished the day in the green here, up about 2%. I want to start with that EV business though, Ross. Listen, Q3 deliveries, they were solid, but we knew they were going to be solid. The question I have for you as, Tesla investor, Tesla shareholder, what do you think, Ross, the underlying growth looks like for that EV business now, though, in the quarters ahead in this post-EV tax credit world we're living in?
Well, unfortunately, I have to tell you, I think this is as good as it's going to get. I think it's all sort of, we've maxed what Tesla's EV sales potential is, which is at about 1.9 million units a year. So, Tesla was always slated to make, ideally 10 million plus vehicles a year in the original plan. And so now I think we're stuck at less than 2 million and going down. So if the best they can do is close to 500,000 with the expiration, now I'm estimating they're looking at more like 1.6 million cars next year. And no analysts have that in their numbers because they always have this incremental growth irrelevant of the realities facing the business. And I just don't see where the growth comes from. Well,
some bulls, Ross, on this show have countered, they're looking at those new more relatively affordable models, Ross. Do you think that could drive demand? What do you think?
It's not affordable. I mean, if I rip out half the car and sell it for half price, it doesn't make the car more affordable. It makes the car worse at a cheaper price. So you're getting less for your money. That doesn't make it more affordable. What it means is they're diminishing the value of the product to sell it for cheaper. And that's a bad business strategy. It's a strategy of weakness when you can't actually convince consumers to buy your product, A, because you don't even advertise to create demand, and B, the CEO is one of the most hated people in the world. So there's a huge disconnect between what Tesla needs to do to sell cars and what they're actually doing.
So if this is as good as it was going to get, Ross, let me ask you then, were you selling here?
Well, I didn't sell because I've been selling, consistently for months. So I didn't necessarily use this as some new opportunity to sell because we've just been a seller for years now. We're kind of down to the amount of stock that our shareholders are pretty diehard Tesla fans and they don't want to sell. So we're not selling, substantially more stock than we have been in the past because we know we still have about an $80 million position and we manage about $4 billion. So it's about 2% of our assets. So I'm not that concerned about it. And a lot of our clients are big believers in Tesla. And I'd like to be a bigger believer in Tesla, but I think the bigger issue I have is what's going to happen if full self-driving doesn't work. And I'm still fairly convinced they're not going to get this to work by the end of the year or anytime soon until they accept that vision-only systems are not safe enough. And we know this as a fact. We have Waymo proving it every day.
When you're in your Tesla, Ross, do you have a Tesla still actually or no? You sold it?
Of course.
You do?
Of course I have a Tesla. I drive a Cybertruck.
Do you experiment with the FSD yourself?
I do it every day. And it's like an experiment in disappointment. So it's like right now when I go home, if I push drive me home and it's about 3 miles, it just can't do it without me disengaging, and I have to pay complete attention the entire time to the vehicle. Now, on the other hand, I can call a Waymo right now, and it'll take me home with I'll sit in the back seat, and it drives better than humans. I see Waymos doing stuff and I'm just pissed off. People are like, why are you so angry at Tesla? And I was like, because I see Waymos every day doing what I was promised that I'd be able to do years ago, okay? And I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on full self-driving between all the different Teslas I've bought over the last 5 years, and it's never worked. So I'm tired of the promises. It's time for Tesla to say, if it's not working now, why would it work later?
Ross, switching gears, shareholders like yourself, you're going to have a chance to vote on Musk's pay package. That's coming up in November. And Musk actually addressed that on the call. Let's take a quick listen to that.
There needs to be enough voting control to give a strong influence, but not so much that I can't be fired if I go insane. I just don't feel comfortable building a robot army here and then being ousted because of some asinine recommendations from ISS and Glass Lewis who have no friggin' clue. I mean, those guys are corporate terrorists.
All right, Ross, corporate terrorists, not holding back. But let me ask you, you're a shareholder. How are you going to vote? Are you going to vote yes or no on that pay package?
Well, just to predicate, I vote no on most pay packages for most of the companies I own because I think in general CEOs are vastly overpaid. So I just want to predicate that. But this is the most absurd pay package that has ever been created in the history of business, and not to mention the different tranches and what the vesting is so arbitrary and broad. And I don't even think the pay package is legal because I don't think there was any actual negotiation over the pay package, which was the same reason that it was ruled illegal by Delaware last time. And I think this is just going to add more lawsuits anyways. And I just don't understand why anybody thinks that this is a good idea in the first place, because he wants to build like a robot army. And I'm very concerned about this risk to society.
But are you concerned, Ross, if he doesn't get that pay package, the risk that he walks?
And goes where? See, it's like Putin, it's like, oh, if you don't give me what I want, I'm not going to do, I'll nuke you. And the Putin's, it's like Elon, where's he going to go? If Tesla stock goes down 50% because he leaves Tesla, who's going to lose the most? It's going to be Elon. So his whole house of cards is predicated around Tesla being successful. So he's not going anywhere. I think that these are empty threats, and there's nobody on the board that is willing to stand up to Elon because they're all his friends and relatives and people who are extremely overpaid to go along with everything. We know that that's the way Tesla works. And so they're going to approve this pay package no matter how absurd it is. And that's Tesla. And if you're an investor in Tesla, you're on this bus, whether you like it or not. And that's one of the reasons I've sold a lot of my stock, and me personally as well. But that's my choice. And I think other investors have to make their choice. But I care a lot about shareholder governance. And this is the worst example of shareholder governance in business history.
Ross, always appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.